Welcome, NPSOT. Here we are at River Ranch County Park. Hopefully going to be open later this year. We're going to take you on a virtual field trip here in a few minutes, but this is where you will enter off of what I call Baghdad Road onto Reveille Way. There was obviously an Aggie involved in naming that. At our first stop, we are looking at post oak. If you'll notice, it has this shaped leaf, kind of like a little airplane. It's called Quercus stellata. On the back side of the leaf, with a loop, you can see the little stellar or star-like formations. It has very good, long, deep grooves and is very, very straight. This is usually found at the tops of mesas in the hill country. It really requires a little bit more root system than the live oak. It is easily disturbed though, and so we hope that this one will make it. It's right here by the trail. Right next to it, we have elbow bush. Elbow bush is called such because when it starts a new twig and it comes off, it's almost at a 90-degree angle, an elbow. This is called elbow bush. It's also sometimes called spring herald. It's the first thing that blooms in the springtime. There's both male and female species, and the females will have little purple droops on them in good years. It really is a great plant for wildlife because they can find ways to hide underneath it. Anytime one of the stems goes down, it will reroot, also giving it the name tanglefoot. Just over from here, we have what is known as poverty weed, Roosevelt weed. I grew up being told it was depression willow. It is, one of the reasons it's called that is it is a pioneer species, so it came into a lot of the fallow fields. Here in just a couple of more months, it will bloom, and we will have a really good source of nectar for a lot of butterflies. I would like to introduce, though, Allie. It is Urista?
Urista, yes.
Urista, okay. She is what I consider the face of the park because she's going to be the first person you get to have to see. She will be your greeter. Allie?
Hello, as Sue mentioned, I'm Allie. I'm the office specialist here at River Ranch County Park. When you first enter, this is where you'll come and get checked in and pay your entry fee. The park will offer trails for equestrian trail riders, as well as campsites for RVs with 50 amps and water. We'll also have several camping sites, both primitive and walk-in grouped camping. And the most exciting part, which hopefully we get to see later, is the Interpretive Center. And along the way, we'll see lots of flora and fauna that River Ranch has to offer.
This is our state tree, the pecan. In fact, there's a little pecan right here. This is a native. It found its way down in this little kind of what we would call a slough. So there are deeper soils. So pecans can grow to be fairly sizable, even if they are not in the Blackland Prairie. Hi there, now we have the Mustang grape. It's one of 3 grapes that grow in the Texas Hill Country. It can be either lobed or not lobed. And the one way you can distinguish the Mustang grape is on the back side. It will be very hairy. We teasingly say, think about it, the hind end of a Mustang. But these can grow up to 40 feet in length and their trunks can be the size of a small tree. You can get a little shot back over behind me of part of the trunk that's down there. They can eventually kill out a tree. That's a cedar, the oak behind it. But they can eventually kill out these trees. However, it's nice to leave them here. The grapes are wonderful for small mammals and deer, and it just makes great cover. This is big muley, Lindheimer muley, named for both Muhlenbergia, or Muhlenberg, who was one of the main first botanists for the United States. Also named for Ferdinand Lindheimer, who's considered the father of Texas botany. This is the inflorescence. It will soon pop open. This is just starting. These will bloom and put up several of these stalks with little almost black seeds in them. We suggest utilizing this plant in place of pampas grass. It's really a great grass for butterflies to take shelter in, and for small mammals to utilize the part of it for denning. It's great for erosion control. If you look behind us, we've got a slough here, and it does like to be in areas over on angles and get some drainage. You will find this throughout the hill country. Next to this is narrow leaf sumpweed, sort of kind of like a ragweed of this area. You generally get it and ragweed at the same time. Next to it is broomweed, which is an excellent plant if you want to have quail. This is a great plant to have a lot of because they can crawl and go underneath. They make little trails throughout this broomweed. Then we have the state grass of Texas, side oats grama. The easiest way to tell side oats grama is it tends to have all of its seeds on one side, reminding me of a group of little Tibetan prayer flags flying. This is utilized by lots of mammals out here. This is another one of our natives which is just coming out, and these can grow up to be 4 to 5 feet tall. This is snow on the prairie. It's of the euphorbia family. If you break it open, it has a milky sap. And the flowers are actually the very small things. A lot of people think of these as the petals, but those are bracts or leaves. Right below it, we find heliotrope. This has been blooming for a couple of weeks now. Steve Schwartzman had this posted on his blog about 2 weeks ago. Here we have a Texas persimmon. This is a much older one, looking at the size of this trunk. This is one of the prettiest trees around. We recommend that you plant these. They do not get real tall. They're slow growing, and they have, if I can find it, right here is a persimmon. They start out green, they turn black. You're lucky to ever find them. The mammals, especially the fox, will climb these, the raccoons, and all sorts of little critters. The pioneers used those seed pods to tell you how bad that they will stain your teeth for tanning leather and for coloring it. But one of the prettiest trees in Texas, a great tree to have instead of crepe myrtle. It is semi-evergreen, but think about this, just don't plant it over your sidewalk or your driveway if you get a female, which are the ones that bear fruit. Here is the Interpretive Center, which is obviously still under construction, but looking better every time we come out here. It will have where we are is going to be the amphitheater, and the fireplace will be an outdoor fireplace. Inside you will have large display area, very interactive, and then we're going to have one classroom, small classroom, a conference room, both of which can be rented, and then a small office for books and materials and things for the interpretive staff. In fact, we will be looking for volunteers, the Friends of River Ranch. But we're really looking forward to this, as this will be the first nature center in Williamson County. Hi there, this is an excellent example of Quercus fusiformis. This is the tree, the live oak tree that grows predominantly in the hill country area. all sometimes called escarpment live oak or plateau live oak. It is, obviously, this one's been around and may have even been more than one tree that have grown together. Interestingly enough, this is about a mile approximately from the Interpretive Center on a trail, and it's on the end, it's not at the end of the trail, it's part of the outer loop, which makes it really nice because you can see it and see other things. So Allie and I are here, and we cannot reach around this tree. I think we put 3 or 4 people, but it is rather large. And so kind of be the highlight of your walk out here on, I believe this is called the Texas Red Oak or the Red Oak Trail. Here we have ash juniper, aka cedar. And no, they were not brought in by the Germans. If you remember what Clark Warneke said, they found pollen as far back as 10,000 years ago. This tree is very much native to Texas. It provides great nesting. In fact, it is the place that the golden cheek warbler builds its nest predominantly with the bark of the old cedar trees. So these two have obviously been here a while. They're both fairly damaged, but they can be limbed up and made into absolutely gorgeous trees. It's just, and with the advent of live oak decline, if people have nothing but live oaks and this, they ought to keep some of these instead of clearing them all out. It is, the berries of the female are used by a lot of birds. It is a larval host to the olive hairstreak and juniper hairstreak butterfly. And then finally, the male cedar trees are the ones that give you fits in winter. They're the ones that produce all of that pollen. Here we are in the playground of the Day Use Center, and I am just totally impressed by the architect who came up with the idea of what I like to call the cedar spiders. These are actually set in concrete here. Great use of natural materials and something for children to play on, peel the bark, try to climb up, and just wander through. There's also a lot of other great playground equipment. I love the logs over there, which are concrete, but they look like wood. The caterpillar, and my favorite is the little geodesic type little dome that's a climbing thing. Of course, not what someone my age should be doing. But with this, we will probably leave you today, and we will come back again. Well, we've only barely touched the surface of this park and just some of the predominant species that you're going to get to see any time of the year. But we like to try to highlight different species at different times. We hope to come back in the fall and maybe go to the prairie near the river and be able to see the liatris or gay feather and some of the other species that we get to see. So thank you very much. You have a great day.